We back, y'all.
Yes, sir.
We back, y'all. We back.
Welcome back.
Insert clap. Insert clap. Woo! So we back. Episode 2, season 5.
Yeah.
Shit, I'm so used to saying season 4.
Facts.
Post-op, so I had a little surgery done, so the position is gonna be a little weird, but you know what I'm saying, pause. But you know what I'm saying, we gonna make it work. We gonna make it work. So I got a splint on, and if you see me bend my knees a couple times, pause again.
Yeah.
It's because I'm trying to adjust to this. Anybody who's had a leg surgery at any time, you know what I'm going through, so please prayers would be great. I'm your host, F.A. Zell. Shout out to all the listeners, viewership, YouTube viewership, Spotify listenership, SoundCloud listenership, Apple Music listenership, and for the weirdos on Google Play, we on there too. To the right of me, you know the familiar me, go say hi to the folk.
It's the usual suspect.
Usual suspect, yeah.
Your boy Claude. Handle. Flacco.
Flock. Yes sir, yes sir.
All that.
And to the left of us, back again, so this is a two-pack. Back again as our guest and new member of the team.
Yo.
He will be helping us structure episodes. He will be helping us with the writing. So if the quality and everything goes up, you know who it's Cuz.
It's your boy, still the #1 fan.
Yes, sir.
Now, I don't know about that girl, Jay Monet, but you already know. It's your boy Giddy.
Yeah, shout out Jay Monet, by the way.
Oh my God. Yeah, shout out to Jay Monet. Happy birthday too.
Happy birthday. Yeah, we did see that.
Enjoy your trip.
Enjoy the trip. Yeah, we did see that. I don't know where you went exactly, but enjoy the trip. Stay Rona free, wear your mask, and that goes out to everybody right now as we navigate through the COVID-19 pandemic. A lot happened this week, fellas. A lot happened this week. Really excited to get into it on this episode. Where do you guys want to start off?
I think we start with the NBA, bro, to be honest with you.
I think we start with B, get out the way.
Who?
B, Beyonce, you love her.
Oh my goodness.
I think we can start with that.
Yeah, I guess, you know.
I think the second topic is a little bit more involving, so.
Okay, I mean, there's no getting out of it, right?
Yeah.
So I think for me, I just want to put a disclaimer out there. I am not a Beyonce fan. That said, she is a black woman, and I will always love and respect her for who she is and who her family is as well. Shout out Jay-Z. And Blue, and the other two, the twins.
I don't even know what they're
The twins. But shout out to them. Shout out to the Carter family. Really big moment for
Cheer,
you know what I mean? Really big moment for black culture. Yeah. This sort of feels like when Black Panther dropped, in a way.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, it feels like
I
that.
didn't even think about that.
The visuals, it feels like that.
He's talking about a feeling, you know.
And feel in terms of like, I guess the visuals. The visuals I saw very Black Panther-like. Visuals I saw very Black Panther-like. Beyonce over this weekend, I believe it was yesterday, released her featured visual album / film, Black is King. And from what I've seen so far, not seen in the movie, as I haven't seen the film, but from what I've heard so far, like it's great. Obviously, I take that with a grain of salt only because like everything Beyonce does, people say it's great.
That's great.
You know,
it's like Black is King.
Black is King. I mean, how could you? Yeah.
Not say that's it.
I mean, she ain't Lotto. But no, seriously speaking, I think it's a great thing. It's exclusively on Disney Plus out there, for those who don't know. Great move by Disney, getting one of the biggest female artists, if not the biggest female artist in the world to agree to an exclusive deal. And great move from her, because at the end of the day, it's Disney and motherfucking Black is King, and like keeping it simple, like it's just a great fucking thing.
As a matter of fact, just apart from the feel, I guess economically too, it feels like Black Panther.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Disney partners up with
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Marvel gets a black character, it breaks like a record. And I
Disney
think
on to something.
Yeah, and I think
Walt Disney rolling over in his grave.
yeah,
though.
bro. Like your subscription is, I think it's at like 54 million.
Yeah.
You're about to like skyrocket with this.
Hey, and the thing, and that's the point I wanted to bring up first.
Not for black people, you know.
You wild, bro. You wild, bro. Nah, man.
That's just
not
staying
true.
right where it is.
That's not true. That's not true. Black people out here donating too. Now,
right where it is.
that's one point I wanted to bring up. This, for me, more so on the Disney side, I think it's great for Disney because before this, I didn't think Disney Plus was winning. Like, they released a lot and the rollout was like, they had Hulu, they had ESPN, they had it all. But like, for some reason, I just felt like they were looked at like Netflix assassinator. Like, we're here to get Netflix out of here, right? Like, all of the Marvel shows that were on Netflix started to leave Netflix because obviously Disney Plus was coming. But when Disney Plus came out, I think initially Disney banked on people having a nostalgic feeling and subscribing to them, but shit just didn't pan out that way, and niggas didn't really like fuck with it as much as they thought they would fuck with it. Maybe people they banked on people wanting to see Proud Family for the 20th time. A lot of folk was just ready for the new stuff.
But they coming up with new episodes and stuff.
Yeah, correct. And that has taken longer than expected. Like
I think quality.
with Lizzie McGuire, they were supposed to release some new Lizzie McGuire stuff, but Hilary Duff, who plays Lizzie McGuire, for those who don't know, they live under a rock. They couldn't agree on the concept of the show. So what Hilary Duff wanted was like, I want this to view me as, older, more mature, living in.
So it's like 15
It's
years.
a year, right? But Disney didn't want that. That's not Disney's
They wanted
brand.
bubbly.
They wanted bubbly, like a little kid show. And
They could have still did it though, because I know they did it with was it That's So Raven?
No, with That's So Raven, they did do that, but it wasn't her like. What she wanted was like basically almost like a Netflix kind of like rated like, not MA, but like rated like R or something like that, right? So it's like.
So she wanted more like she wanted more like PG-13.
PG, like there's sex
Not
in
like
it
Disney.
and everything like that, where Disney's like, that's not our brand.
Yeah.
Where like That's So Raven, they did that, but they did it a little more like to their brand. It's bubbly, like it's a little kid show. There's comedy and shit like that.
Yeah.
Which I thought they dropped the ball on that, letting Liz McGuire, which is like one of their staples for 90s kids.
Yeah.
Like if they did that, I think people would have you would have more subscribers. But you take that, right, and then back to the Beyonce thing, it's a genius move to, especially with everything going on in the world right now with social justice, to take her and really show black images, at its rawest. Because one thing, I haven't seen the film, but I know for a fact there are stunning visuals from the bits and pieces that I have seen. Regardless of how I may feel about Beyonce, it's always a great thing. It's always a win for the culture when that is promoted and it's by a strong black woman who comes off as, having power and independence. I'm not saying that she doesn't have that, but I'm just saying there's a way she carries herself. And I find that to be extremely powerful. What were your thoughts, JD? I'll start with you.
So I've not been able to see it. I had it load, but I've not watched it because I was watching. I'm late on this, but I was watching MJ's The Last Dance. So just from the surface, and I guess from what I gathered with the trailer, and I gathered this with the whole Lion King album as well. It's like a reimagination of the Lion King story, because from the Lion King, the animated movie, I guess from kind of first look and first feel.
That movie sucked. But keep going.
I'm not talking about the one they
I'm messing with you.
I'm talking about the actual anime, not the 3D version that they made. Not the CG. The CG version sucked.
Yeah.
So I think from looking at it, there's this like kind of like Eurocentric spin on it, even though like it's an African story. And I think this kind of visual, film Beyonce put together brings it back into this like African perspective and African hope.
Why I say Black Panther?
Exactly. It brings it into like this Africanness. It's Lion, living on an African continent, doing African things from African perspectives. But it was like kind of like it had a little Eurocentric touch. But now I can see the African side and how it's retold throughout the tracks.
Correct.
And I think from the trailers, there's also a retelling in the trailer as well, where it puts like these images onto the movie that I guess we didn't see from like the animated version. Right off the jump, that's where my mind goes to.
Yeah.
Kind of like a reimagination of the Lion King. So to me, that's what I've gotten. But I'm gonna watch it because I also heard this thing about kind of seeing yourself like a reflection. Reflection in the world. Because Beyonce talks about it, I think, at the beginning of like the thing. And she talks about kind of how like Black people will be like the creators of like culture dominantly.
Yeah.
And how if we don't lead, we led astray. I think was the quote. So
Run them up.
Was that?
Let us straight run them up.
Let us straight run them up. So I think there's this thing about leadership.
Yeah.
As well, from Black culture. That's why I think it says Black is king, right? Because
Yeah.
leader. So that's what I gathered, but I think
Or Queen too for the woke Twitter out there.
this is non-political. So I think I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to watching it. After I'm done watching the bald-headed fella from North Carolina,
Yeah.
like Curtis put it.
They gotta watch it bald-headed. Don't act like Jesus.
So to surmise it, that's what I see.
Okay, Endo, what you think?
Well, going off of
And I just want to put a side note out here. He has people in his life that are huge fans of Beyonce. So, again, tread lightly.
Don't be so
man. Yeah, so actually, alright, well, one, I haven't watched it yet.
Okay.
So.
Just came out, so that's fair.
Right, just came out. I haven't watched it yet. I don't know when I will watch it, to be completely
Are
honest
you a
with
Disney Plus subscriber?
I am not a Disney Plus subscriber, but like I said, being Black, I could get it. I could get it. But yeah, no, I mean, like from what I've seen on Twitter and Instagram and other forms of social media and whatnot, obviously, I love what Beyonce is doing for the culture.
Yeah.
It's something that, especially in like, this day and age and everything that's going on within, the country or really the world, I think, just brings a lot of positivity. So definitely need that. I'll have a more structured opinion on the actual film itself once I actually watch it.
Do you plan on watching?
I mean, like I said, I don't honestly, like, I don't plan on watching it, but I'm sure, like, one day, like, I will get around to it. Yeah. One day I will get around to it.
Okay. No plans on watching it, though. At least you're
No
honest.
plans on watching it.
At least you're honest.
Yeah, but I will get around to it
Okay.
eventually.
Can I ask why not?
It's just not really like it's just not like, well, first of all, like, I'll be honest with you, like, I haven't watched TV in a very long time.
So Black isn't king? Is that what I'm hearing?
Black is very much king, but I just haven't really been watching TV too much.
Okay.
So, like, basketball is back on. Shout out to be able to talk about that.
Yeah, we get into that. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like, that's really the only reason why, like, I really don't just sit down and watch TV as often as I used to. So
yeah.
but yeah, so like, that being said, one day I'll get around to it.
One day.
But yeah, no, shout out to Beyonce though. I love what she's doing for the culture. Obviously, we need it.
Yeah.
Just brings lots of light and positivity to the Black community. And yeah, I love everything she stands for.
This nigga gave a political ass answer. I love everything she stands for. Get the fuck up. But I will say this. Like I said, great for the culture. There's really not much to add. I think overall, just a win. We can keep it real simple. And I also think, though, this has opened the door to what I think we're going to see a lot more of, where it's artists who make visual albums. Like it's a bag.
I
It's
am
a
a
bag.
little confused why it came out now though. But like I feel like well
You know why it came out.
I know why it came out now, but like
Don't make me have to say it.
this
on
is
air.
something that like, this is something that should have been like came out like when the actual album came out.
Come on, bro. Don't make me have to say this on the air.
Bro.
You know why.
I
It's
know,
alright.
I know, but bro, when did the album come out?
It's all about
Months ago.
capitalizing.
What?
Did the album came out months ago?
Did it not?
No, I thought this was a visual album that came out.
Was
Yeah,
this from
somebody
the
fact check that.
Lion King movie?
No. This is not a Lion King movie. No, this is a new
This
album.
is something
It's a
completely
visual
different.
Film slash album.
It is the.
It is from the actual
No
Lion King
way.
It is from the actual. It's a soundtrack.
Because I saw
So wait, so they-
I saw the
but I-
same
but I
the
think-
same symbol, the logo from the
It
movie
is, yeah.
is in
Yeah.
this thing too. That's why.
Yeah, because already by like that's accompanied by Shatawale, the Ghanaian artist.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
on this.
Shout out to Shatawale, that's really my
So
guy.
wait, so let me get this straight. You about that?
That's-
I didn't know that. Let me get this straight. So this is just the soundtrack from the Lion King movie visualized.
Yes.
Yes, because like for instance, like
Okay, is that true? We fact checked that in the back.
Yes.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
so-
That's why I'm like, bro, why did this come out now and not like when the
Oh,
actual-
now this makes even more sense to me.
You see?
Wow.
But I mean, I think this is something we should investigate as well. But I think the timing of it, I don't think it's
It's not off.
it's not. It's, yeah, but I don't think it's political. I think
No, it's definitely a political.
no, but I think the time.
Definitely.
I think the time.
Absolutely.
I think the timing that they were filming, they were putting the film and stuff together. This just so happened to like you know the. That
We have to
it
take
wasn't president. It was actually-
apologize for that, but we're back on, we live now. So back to you saying that black is not king.
That's not what I said.
You don't like to listen to Beyonce,
I
that
love-
she's chips.
I love all my black women, African women, Caribbean women. You guys are all amazing.
Hold on, off the mic though. There was a good point brought up. Not a good point that I agree with, but it's a point that was an interesting point. I'll say that I got brought up, and that is sometimes feeling like American artists, or this is a case of an American artist, kind of forcing music with African artists or popular African artists and capitalizing on that, on the Afrobeats culture. I know you were saying something. Can you continue on that?
Yeah, that's exactly what I said. I just feel like
He's defiant now.
sometimes, like
his hand,
when
put his fist down.
American artists try to, bring on, African artists or any artist from like a different type of sound, it just seems like forced a little bit. It's not like natural. It's
Okay.
not like I could listen to, multiple different like African artists and love the music, but then the second they hop on a track with, an American artist, it's like. Not saying all of it's bad, but
Okay.
sometimes it's just like.
You think it's most of the time?
Most of the time, it's like.
You think it's an African artist that's weak or the American artist?
No, I feel like I don't feel like it's the African artist. I'm saying, I can listen to African Giant and love African Giant and love Burna Boy, but then if Burna Boy was to do a collab with somebody else, it's just like, it's just not the same. Like I don't get the same.
But like an African giant, they collabs with
Future,
Yeah,
Future's on there.
Yeah.
Great song.
Yeah,
And what was his name on
understand.
there?
Georgia Smith's on there. She's
I remember
not-
Georgia Smith.
I'm saying, but that's Burna's album. Like that's his.
That's still a collab.
I know it's still collab. I'm saying when American artists have a project and they're bringing on African artists, sometimes for me it just feels like it's a little bit forced. It's a little bit like they're just trying to, because this person is doing well in
Capitalize on
that,
Afro
right?
beats.
And with his sound, now they're trying to bring that
Yeah.
sound into their thing. It's just like, it don't really work.
I mean, if you say sometimes, maybe.
Yeah, I said something, not all the time.
It worked for Pop Smoke.
That's what I'm saying. Like it works for Pop Smoke. Like that shit worked. That song's fire.
Yeah.
But
And like-
sometimes it's just like.
And the thing with Burna Boy is like the album that he had like Future on, and he had like I can't forget his
YG.
YG was on there.
Yeah.
That YG collab, bro, fire.
Yeah.
So like,
Was it?
It was fire, bro. Sounds fire.
Niggas
Bro,
don't
you're the
agree.
only person that I've heard that said
I'm
that.
not gonna say that shit trash.
Bro, you are the only person I've heard that said that shit was fire.
No,
no cap.
Bro, and shout out to YG. Like, I like YG. Like,
That shit was
bro.
not it, bro.
No, bro.
That's an instant skip for me.
No, bro.
That's how I feel.
Yeah.
Well, that's how
I feel like that's one of those
Skip.
songs that made you guys say,
Skip.
but over time,
Skip.
you come to go, oh, yo, this song actually bang. So y'all thought the Future track was like,
No, that song's fire.
That's just
no,
tough.
the thing with YG, like the track YG on the track Future, it has kind of similar vibe. It does.
Yeah, that's wrong.
Bro,
Nah, no,
I guarantee you, it's one of those songs that you go back that you would like.
But
After a while,
but
after
I'm-
listen to albums, they're always songs and albums that after a while you go back.
No, for sure. I'm one of those people.
Yeah,
But
yo,
that's
this
that
song
one right
actually
there.
bang.
That one for every single time I pulled up for a jump shot. That one's always been a miss. But I would say this though, to bring the focus back on Beyonce. Yeah, I think to Endo's point, now that we're here with that conversation, I think it is kind of Beyonce capitalizing on Afro beats, and that's tough for a lot of people to say, but it's the truth. Like at the end of the day, if I think we would have gotten a Latino record if Latin music wasn't like the way Afro beats
I
is.
don't know about that.
I think we would have got Latino Beyonce. Actually, we did get Latino Beyonce.
When?
Didn't she feature on a Latin track like a couple years ago?
Yeah, maybe the Latin
remix?
artist want her, but it's not because she's jumping on it.
It was like on the radio. I'm telling you.
Maybe the Latin artist wanted Beyonce.
She might have hit a Despacito remix.
Yo, the thing is like Jadena, the Nigerian.
Yeah.
Was talking about how like a long time, like Beyonce a long time ago, like before Afrobeats was even a scene in America, like Beyonce was looking to collab with some African artists.
artists?
Yeah, and she had been about it. So I feel like
She
people.
made a lot of songs.
Yeah, so
with
she-
Stallion.
With J Balvin? Yeah.
Wait,
Yeah, so
J Balvin who?
J
It's
Balvin.
some
artist.
Latin.
I don't know who J Balvin
He's
is.
like a
What?
Latin like singer.
Is he a Latin singer?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like one of the biggest ones out here right now.
Bro, I'm gonna tell you right now, bro, I don't know any Latin music, bro. And that's no offense to my Latin people, I just don't know it. But hey, by the way,
So what Curve is saying, he don't care about Spanish.
nah, bro. By the way, y'all niggas is not gonna let that Karol G remix on Pop Smoke Random though slide off. That shit was trash, bro.
Basura.
Basuda.
We speaking Spanish.
Shout out to my Latin homies though. Mad love and respect for y'all.
Nah, bro, that shit was
yeah,
ass.
But yeah,
That's how
Beyonce.
as far as like, you know, I think Beyonce, people saying like she's capitalizing and all that stuff. I don't think she needs this. You know what I'm trying to say? She doesn't.
Ooh, I don't know about
I
not
think she
need.
needs.
I don't know about not need.
You think Beyonce needs? To
I think it would be. I don't think it's.
It's not a need.
And I'm not attacking Beyonce. I just want to.
No, we're absolutely not talking.
I am saying that I think it's a need in terms of any pop star right now. In terms of their bag, is trying to get some type of Afro beats in the bag. Because if you go to any party, any club, or anything like that,
They're playing.
Afro beats is playing. It's similar to when reggae was hot. The way reggae is obviously hot, but when reggae and dancehall were like, when it was really jumping, like back in the Sean Paul
What did
days,
Chicks do?
niggas was like, get Sean Paul on the track. We gotta get Sean Paul on the record.
I mean,
it's not, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just at the end of the day, the fact of the matter is, I'm trying to incorporate that sound so I can be relevant. But that's what happens when you're a pop star.
I understand, but I guess the point I'm trying to make here is that you know, we have opinions, but sometimes it's like a broad brushstroke. And what I'm trying to say is like, as far as like, you know, Beyonce and like her relationship with music and I guess like, you know, culturally,
Yeah.
it's been said, and you could go look at this. Jadena was on an interview talking about like, yeah, she really had like, I heard like she had like I don't know, maybe you could look it up.
She tried to get Jadena
She had like
on
she had like a secret like Afro beats kind of like album, something like that.
No, and to be clear,
But I get what you're saying. I get the point.
Yeah.
Jadena to me is not an Afro. Like he doesn't. Like I don't think African artist with Jadena. That's not. So I don't understand like the.
like he's I know what he's trying
I
to
know he's Nigerian, but like he's
No,
not.
we're not talking
making
about his artist. We're talking about the authenticity. of the
Just
opinion.
yeah, what he's saying.
Oh, okay.
And to be clear though, I think, you know, saying capitalize is coming off as like a negative connotation. It's
I
not
mean,
that at all.
if that's what it is, then that's what it is.
Yeah, it's not that at all.
I think, you know,
I'm just saying-
more thinking.
Because if in terms of Beyonce, and that's any artist, they could genuinely just like Afrobeats. That's a possibility. Yeah, so it's not a thing where, you know, I think in a negative way Beyonce's trying to capitalize. I think it's a thing where it's like the reality is when you're a pop star, you go to try to get the sound that is the most popular.
Like what Drake did.
Yeah, similar to Drake.
Literally what
Drake
Drake
is like, it's not that Drake needs that per se, or like his career depends on it, but if I'm trying to be relevant right now, I want to go with the sound that's current right now. That's what every pop star does.
And even like, so with Drake, like, even now with like drill music, like Drake is
And that one them ting.
right, like dude, like please.
I don't believe you.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just,
not British, bro.
it's not the same. Like, I get it. Okay, you're trying to capitalize on it, but bro, like, we don't need that. We can
don't
just
need
keep
that Drake.
bro. We don't need that Drake, bro. Like, stay in your lane, bro. Like,
I think music.
there's only a few artists that could really do shit like that. You know what I mean? Like, there's really only a few artists that can do things like that. Like, Tory Lanez has multiple lanes.
Tory Lanez has multiple.
No pun intended. He has multiple lanes. Like, he could do shit like that.
I'm not sure that's a safe name to even bring up on podcast.
I'm just saying, but Tory's versatile.
Yeah,
Like,
he's very versatile.
Let's stay on Tory real quick. All right, we're gonna switch
a great
to the
transition.
topic. Great transition. So the reason why, obviously, Tory's not a very popular person to bring up right now is for what allegedly happened, transpired between him and one Meg Thee Stallion.
Before you go ahead, I'd like to say something.
Nine
I think people need to separate art from the artist. Yeah.
Full disclaimer, not gonna hold you. I was bumping Tory on the way here, so.
Bro, I was too, no lie.
Oh my God!
No lie, the volume was high. I'm not gonna lie.
We at Thunder 04 headquarters do not support these views.
Support what views? You make great
Separate
music.
the art from the artist.
So-
I was bumping that.
So, you know what?
Tory hasn't missed
Before we get canceled.
Yo, Tory hasn't missed yet.
In other words, what
that is not
that nigga is fire.
Nah, that is not funny.
That nigga is fuego.
No. That is not funny. That is not funny.
That nigga is the ultimate. Ultimate R&B R&B singer out here.
Listen. What happened to Meg Thee Stallion is not funny at all. You know.
No.
I just want to. No. We will not. No. And listen,
He hasn't missed.
no, we will
I
not
as an
have.
artist.
We will not have those puns in terms of he hasn't missed because he shot her in the foot allegedly. We will not do that here, not on this podcast.
I mean, I
What I
see
would say
that
is
and all,
this.
but
What I
as
would-
an artist,
Yo.
fuego, bro.
No, listen, what I will say is this. Allegedly, they went to a party. You know the backstory by now, and if you don't, you've been living under a rock. Allegedly, they were at a Kylie Jenner party. They were with a friend. Things went south. An argument ensued, and Tory allegedly shot Meg Thee Stallion in the foot. Both feet, I believe. So,
Yeah, both feet.
you know, that Meg later on finally came on IG this week and kind of, you know, talked about it and how she's doing, gave people an update on IG Live. What more so I wanted to discuss is what this means for both of them. And I want to start with Meg because obviously in this case, and I don't mean to victimize her, but the reality is she was the victim of a shooting. So what does that mean for her in her career?
She got shot.
I mean, what do you I guess?
What I mean is, besides Captain Obvious over here talking about she got shot, is do you,
Shot every day.
she's 25 years old. She's, you know, the people's people, the people's person or whatever. Everyone loves Meg. You see her around all the parties and everything like that. Like literally pictures with Jay-Z from, like everybody loves Meg Thee Stallion, right? The culture loves Meg Thee Stallion. She brought this new energy along, but you know, this is the first time we're seeing her deal with, you know, adversity like the way she is, right? I guess what I mean is, do you think this kind of event will hurt the music in her career, or do you think it's gonna, you know, there's more to come from Meg Thee Stallion?
I mean, every time things like this happen, you can draw flags. So I don't see this hurting her career at all. I mean, you could look at someone like Rihanna, you know, with the Chris Brown thing. She kind of bounced back. The thing is also people, it's weird. I don't know if this is the right thing to say, that people tend to love you more. I don't know, but I guess maybe people pity you, or like, you know, people worry, or, you know, people are more sympathetic with you. So even if, like, let's say she drops like another album and it's trash, it's still gonna be loved, like on some level. So I don't think this is gonna hurt her. But what I think is striking about this whole incident is, I think how social media dealt with it. Where I think we live in this culture where toxic like masculinity is you know, the topic of the day.
Yeah.
And I think because of that, people don't allow nuance in any situation that happens. Automatically, you know, when it looks and sounds a certain way and it's against a man, automatically it's kind of like, you know, I mean, obviously there's context, right? But in situations like this, automatically it's kind of like, oh, this is toxic, like masculinity, and it needs to be getting rid of it. And then, you know, it kind of trickles a little bit into cancel culture, like how I handle saying, like, you know, I was listening to Tory, so I'm over here too, I'm not gonna lie. But the thing is, like, you know, then it leads to things like that, where it's kind of like, well, we have to cancel the dude because this is toxic male, you know, culture. It's kind of like, well, you know, there are two sides to the story. At least, you know, we have to wait to hear from Tory's side. You know,
So
what I mean? There's nothing right about shooting someone.
I was about to say that.
Right? There's nothing.
What do we
absolutely
actually
right. Yes. The thing is, like, but we never know. You know, like, it could be really complicated how events like unfold. So we need to like hear the full thing. And it's not one of those situations where it's kind of like, oh, we're not giving legitimacy to what Megan said because we need to hear the whole thing. But at least, like,
Let's also hear what Tory said.
yes, like even like in a court of law, there's a belief like the worst of us still have to be tried fairly. You know what I mean?
That's
so
right.
I feel like we need to hear Tory's part on why he was stupid, or why maybe what he did.
Transpired.
Yeah,
Okay.
for a weird reason maybe might make sense. So I don't see how it makes sense, but hey.
And what do you think for Meg and Tory? I guess, no, matter of fact, we didn't Meg. Because I think there's a pretty much agreement that Meg will be fine career-wise. Like, she had the #1 song in America, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Definitely on TikTok.
Oh.
Everywhere you go. Fucking,
What's TikTok?
I'm a, what is it?
Nigga, you know what it is.
I'm a savage.
You don't know the song.
You are uncooped.
But like that is like, you know, having the #1 song on TikTok and everything. So I think her career will be fine. My question, especially for someone like you, Edno, who obviously is an avid Tory fan, what does this mean for Tory?
To be honest with you, I don't know what it means for Tory. I think if I was to guess, like, the way people are with cancel culture, like, you know, people might say Tory's canceled. But then again, I don't know the full story. I'm only going based off what I've been reading.
Let's use hypotheticals. Tory shot her out of anger. What does it mean for Tory?
Oh, he's canceled. He's done so.
Okay.
He's done so. Like, there's
Will
no
you still
way.
be listening?
There's no way. I mean, like I said, I'm one of those people, bro. I could separate the artist from the.
So you listen to R. Kelly?
Well, I never really listened to R. Kelly.
I said, would you?
Would I? I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
Why not?
Bro, like
Oh,
yeah.
just a question.
I mean, I still listen to Michael Jackson,
What about Michael?
even with all his shit going on.
Let me clarify for y'all.
You know what I mean? Like,
there's
bro,
a big difference.
clarification.
There's a big difference between what R. Kelly is going through and what Michael Jackson.
I understand that, but at the end of the day, like,
Michael was never canceled.
people was still canceling Michael Jackson.
Ooh,
What, in the black community?
Not in the black community,
Bro, there are people who are still canceling Michael Jackson. I never did, but that's what I'm saying. Like, I can separate.
I don't want to see these black folks.
Yeah, bro. In fact, black community was the one dropping like, bro, y'all
bugging.
like,
Which is crazy.
y'all could have got a certain other niggas out of here. Like, we gave y'all a bill. But Michael,
Bro, nah.
if y'all get the fuck up out of here.
Chappelle was getting on stage like doing like whole debates.
Yeah, bro.
Like, bro.
Not Michael. Yeah.
Yo, nah, y'all seen Dave Chappelle's special?
Yeah, bro. And he said that.
Michael Jackson living with a bunch of kids. Well, what were those kids wearing? anyway, back to.
And children getting raped is not
Bro,
funny.
that shit is not funny at all.
I'm gonna be very
That
clear.
joke is
Having
hilarious,
fun.
but that shit was, what were those kids wearing? Nah, in all seriousness though, yeah, like I can separate the artist from the art. Like I have no problem doing that. So if the story comes out and yeah, like, Tory did shoot Meg out of anger, okay, he's canceled. You know, society
For them, but not for
canceled,
you.
but I'm still gonna listen to the music.
So I rock with him on that.
You know, like I'm not gonna be like, I'm not just gonna throw away a bunch of Tory Lanez music like just because this incident happened.
See, I had this difficulty, right? And the reason why I bring this up because I was a huge John Mayer fan. Like I love John Mayer. Like that's my guy. For the white music listeners out there,
I love that.
you know what I'm saying? I love John Mayer. And John Mayer had an episode where it was like, I guess some racial comments came out.
Yeah.
This was a while back. I continued to listen to John Mayer, but with that said, I understand when people are like, yo, I can't listen to this nigga no more. Right? I can't listen to John Mayer no more. I can't listen to, because my thing is, how can you support an artist? Like, and I'm all for separating the person and the art. I'm all for that. But I understand from the point of view of like, you can't be a black person, right? Well, you can be, but it's weird to be a black person and you support racist music. Or people, or artists that are racist. How do you separate that?
I guess this is this is one of those like it's very complex, right? Because the thing is, I tell people this all the time, and the reason why I support what Hendo was saying is that there's music from like the 80s, music from the 70s, 60s that people still enjoy. That you know that the people that made the music might have done something something
Real stummy.
that you don't know, right? But the thing is like that, the idea about art is that it brings us something, right? It brings us something.
Yeah,
It brings
for sure.
something to our lives. Like it heals. It does a lot of things. It can make you happy. It brings like certain
Vibrations, all about
ambiance to
vibrations.
certain environments. You know what I mean? So the thing is like, I think it depends on the person. I think this is a complex topic, but it depends on the person. Do people consume art because when they consume it, they supported the artist, or do people consume art because of the individual livelihood and has nothing to do with the artist? Like the thing is like, there's a side of it where they purchase the music, but the thing is when they purchase the music, are they purchasing it because of support? I mean, it definitely supports the artist, right?
Yeah.
But personally, are they purchasing it to support the artist, or are they purchasing it because they're like, this is art that I like, that brings certain value into my life?
And that's where I think those lines get blurred. I think people, especially when you're a fan of an artist, like a fan of Tory, right? Where you're invested in, like, outside of quarantine radio, just Tory Lanez's story, I think people are invested in Tory Lanez as like a person.
Okay.
Understanding his story and feeling like he's our guy, right? Like there's some people that feel that way. I don't know if you feel that way, but I know there's some people that literally like, we seen Tory from the bottom up, like that's our guy. And then for this, and then for
I
this,
just like the music, bro.
for this incident to happen, no, but then that's what like, some people are. I guess that's what you call a fanatic. And now we've invested in our guy, and then for this to happen, it's like, how can we not be listening to his music?
That's a little different. And then again, I'll kind of like reiterate what I was saying. Like honestly, I just like music.
Yeah.
Truly, I just like music. Like for instance, I was having an argument with one of my friends the other day, and they were so caught up in like the last episode we had about Kanye and stuff like that. And I'm like, bro, if the dude makes like hot stuff, he makes that fuego, bro.
That's what you do.
He makes that fire, bro. Like back in the men making fire for the first time, bro. If he does that, I'm bumping
You gotta let it slide. But
I gotta turn it up.
who cut in? Last question on this. Who cut in Tory Lanez on at the party? I know you got a stereo. You bring everything.
Hey, listen,
Oh yeah, bro. I already
You playing Tory at the party?
You heard that new Tory that dropped, bro? Like,
Oh shit!
Yo, that shit is fire, bro.
But here's the thing. Even cancel culture though, cancel culture is not even consistent.
It's really not.
It really isn't, bro.
Yeah, it's not even consistent.
It's really not, bro. Like
Like
in that
6ix9ine was canceled, but he
He
got
is.
those fucking views on fucking.
Cancel culture not even fucking consistent. Fuck you guys.
Yeah,
But yeah, I'm still gonna bump Tory. And what?
bro, it's like
that's no point.
Like I was bumping that Tory Lanez on my way, man. I'm not gonna lie.
Hey man, whatever happens, may bygones be
That's
bygones.
16, bro.
But I do hope all parties, though. Luckily, everybody was safe. Meg got the surgery, got the bullets removed from her foot.
I'll tell you one thing right now, bro. If they cancel Tory, bro, yo, I better not see or hear anyone at no day party when Jerry Springer come on.
Jerry Springer will not be playing.
Y'all better keep your mouth shut.
Jerry Springer will not be playing.
I'm just saying, bro.
I used to hear fucking in the clubs, like right when the last song in the club used to be fucking I don't see nothing wrong, but all that shit done. You don't hear that shit no more in the clubs, not at all.
That's when you trying to get people to leave.
Yeah, bro, you don't hear that shit no more in the club. But yeah, this could have gone like definitely really bad.
Yeah.
So luckily everybody's safe.
I think I wanna-
God bless
I wanna-
them and all the families. And
I want to make a point here too clearly. We're laughing and stuff like that. I think that doesn't negate from the fact that we care about women because I feel like it's such a hot topic. Because you can't like what happened with Meg. People feel like, oh, you don't care about women. This is why black women get abused because nobody cares about it. People laugh.
Yeah.
So I want to make it clear. We're not laughing because of, I think it's important that we be clear if anyone's listening.
No, I'm not laughing at all. I
Yeah,
think
we're not-
these two are laughing.
No,
but I'm not laughing.
okay, I'll clarify on my stance.
Now I'm laughing.
So the thing
I already told
No, I'm
this
messing,
up,
I'm messing.
brother.
Yeah, the thing is like, we're laughing not because, we think Megan deserves what happened or we're questioning, her integrity of her story.
Yeah.
The integrity of her story, I mean. What it is that we can find nuance, right? We can contextualize. Like, here's the thing. There's music. This nigga makes great music. So I listen to that. And what he had on the side of his personal life is also different. It's a more serious thing. Whatever happened there. But it doesn't mean we cannot listen to music. And while we're talking about it, if something is funny, we laugh.
Yeah.
We love to laugh. It's not because we think
Well, I'm telling you, that's what comedy is.
So
Yeah,
sensitive.
yeah. It's just people like Hendo was saying. People just get really sensitive. And I feel like before you get sensitive, kind of look at the situation.
Yeah.
And be like, what are they laughing at? What are they talking about? What is the context? What's the nuance?
Yeah.
So
I think that's a big word, context.
Yeah, it's important to point that out. Because I know some people be getting upset, bro.
No, they feel like they really know, because there was people going around saying like, I don't like the fact that if Kylie Jenner was the one that got shot, the energy would be a lot different. And I think that's true. That's something that we don't even have to speak on, but I feel like that is true. Why is that? You know what I'm saying? So, that's something to definitely ponder on and wonder why. Yeah, definitely. I'd like to know from y'all. Do you feel like the energy would be different if Kylie Jenner was the one who got shot in the foot and not Meg? Do you feel like that way, or do you feel like it's all be the same and nothing but jokes?
I definitely feel that way. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So definitely something to think about. I think lastly, I know my man's brought it up in the beginning. Switching gears here. The NBA is back. The sun is out. We made it, guys. MLB looking like it's about to be done. The NBA, though, they said it couldn't be done, but here we are.
They didn't want us to see it.
It could not be done.
They after I think it's 100 and something days, 140 something days,
Something like that.
right? The new slogan, a whole new game. Just want to get your thoughts, and I'll start on this end of it. Kyrie was one of the people who did not want the league to be back.
Fuck Kyrie.
No, absolutely not. Mad respect to Kyrie. He started a $1.5 million WNBA players, and
Well, fuck Kyrie.
he didn't want it to be back, and the reason why is because he felt like it'd take the focus off of, and not just him. There's a lot of players that felt this way. The focus off of the social justice movement.
It didn't.
Do you think Kyrie was right? You don't think Kyrie was right?
He was obviously wrong.
Hendo kind of could go first.
He was obviously wrong.
Technical difficulties, but now we are back on. Endo, you were talking about Kyrie Irving. Was he right or was he wrong about the opinion on starting the NBA season?
Man, Kyrie was big wrong, and he was wrong because if he thought for a second that the NBA would come back and everyone would just forget about the whole like movement.
Well, he didn't say they forget.
Well,
He said it'd be a distraction.
Yeah, but that's
That's the main topic.
but so here's my thing, right? While the NBA was out, we saw everything that happened within the black communities and all the riots and everything going on.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest with you, like for me, like that, seeing all that shit every day is depressing as hell. Like, you know what I mean? Like that, like to me, like I don't want to, and this is why I don't really want to watch. Like I don't watch the news as often as I used to because like I just don't want to continue hearing the same things and the same stories. And it's like, even though a lot of things are inspiring, but to me, like the whole mood is just like it's not a positive mood. So the reason why I say that the NBA should have been back and that Kyrie was wrong is because one, not only was it going to bring a more positive light into everything that was going on within society, but the players themselves know that they have a platform, and taking away the NBA and taking away the games and media, because if you take away the NBA doesn't restart. There's no media. There's none of that. They can't use their platform to then put more behind Black Lives Matter and more support of everything that's going on. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So not saying like it's not gonna. It definitely wouldn't. It's definitely not a distraction because we see like I don't know if you guys been watching the games. Obviously,
Of course, yeah.
like you see the things that they've been doing before the games. You see all even on the court they have Black Lives Matter on the court. There's like you can't like we're watching basketball, but you still can't get away from everything else that's going on. Like they're still going to talk about it. There's still players doing interviews, not even answering the questions that the reporters are even asking them. They're just saying this is from Breonna Taylor. Like that's like to me that is more powerful than just shutting down the NBA for the rest of the season and then just solely focusing on or trying to focus on Black Lives Matter and the whole movement. Like I think that with the NBA being back, it's been nothing but positivity and actually helped the actual. I don't have to call it movement because it's not really. It shouldn't really be a movement.
I think the counter argument to that, and it's not an argument I agree with or anything like that, but I'm just saying that from what I've heard, is that the players are the platform for NBA. So like, LeBron doesn't have to play for you to hear from LeBron.
True. But not every player is like LeBron.
No.
Not every player has that same platform as LeBron.
Not every player is. But what they're saying is the prominent players can have that platform, right? That's the first thing. The second thing is in terms of the league restarting and games being played, there's a very complicated power dynamic. Does the league make the league or do the players make the league?
I'm gonna have to agree with it.
I understand.
See?
I know, and I've heard this argument before. I totally understand. I think obviously the NBA is definitely run by the players. Like there's no question about that. I think even from now, like even if we're stepping aside from Black Lives Matter, like we know like players now have more control of their own destiny than like ever before, and that's across the league. Like no other league is like the NBA, and that's a fact.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like players can decide where they want to go. Like they don't have to wait for contracts to end at this point. Like they can dictate all that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely a league run by the players. I just don't think that. I don't think that. Well, I do think that the players have the players have obviously like they have the stage where they can decide what they want to do or not. I think that in my opinion, I think that it's better for the players to still play and use their platform at the same time to talk about racial injustice and everything else rather than shutting down the league. Like let's say the players choose to not play across the board, like okay, that's cool, like you can do that. Honestly, you can't really go wrong either way, but I think that it's just gonna bring. It's
You
more.
think it's louder for them?
Right, it's louder for them if
Yeah.
they're playing and they're doing that at the same time. Like it's not, you know.
How do you feel like they've handled that? From the sample size that we've gotten so far,
I think
they
they-
feel like they've handled that.
I mean, I think they've done a great job so far. Like, and it's not just from the players; it's literally like across the organization. Like from day one, even heading into the bubble, you saw Toronto pulled up and their buses had Black Lives Matter written all over it. Like that, you know, it's the small things like that where I think that like really goes a long way because it's not just saying like, oh, because you know majority of the players in the NBA are black, like you know they have a voice. It's like no, this is like league wide. This is coming down from Adam Silver, who we know supports players 100%. Like he's for
He's
the
a
people.
players commissioner.
Yeah, he's a players commissioner. This is coming from Adam Silver. This is coming from executives. It's coming from you know team owners. Like it's not just from the players. You see what I'm saying? And I think that's the important part that people are missing.
Yeah. Like I was saying earlier, I agree with Handel. I think more people have to understand that as a community, as a people, black folks have to understand that we have to be able to walk and chew gum at the same time. Just because you're walking doesn't mean you cannot chew gum. Just because you're chewing gum doesn't mean you should walk, right? The NBA going on and things happening in life, it's not like, you know, it's mutually exclusive. Just because the NBA going on doesn't mean life stops and things going on within life stops. As a matter of fact, I think the reason why people like Kyrie and folks like that said that, from my point of view, is just like a regurgitated thought. What you hear somewhere and you just repeat it and you don't really look at the reality of it, right? Because if you look at the reality of it, you will be able to tell that the opener of the NBA, by the way, they're doing a great job as far as like quarantining people. Like
way better than MLB.
I think that should be kind of like the archetype that all
The standard, yes, that's standard.
all the leagues like kind of like follow. But yeah, I sidetracked a little bit. But to get back on topic, I think if Kyrie and some of the players that have had that sentiment of like, you know, the NBA is going to take away from the movement, I think if you don't regurgitate that thought from reading something or hearing it somewhere and you actually look at the reality, the NBA going on gives the problem more exposure, like Handel said. And it is giving it more exposure where people come to the interviews and, you know, they're doing that. So the thing is, I think it's really important to realize that we can live our lives and still pay attention to things that we pay attention to. And as a matter of fact, I think it's important that the NBA came back because for people that have, you know, certain like mental health issues or even people that have impacts, like these have certain impacts on them that are very, you know, like deep and call for attention. So something like that coming back on TV helps with I think the dynamics of mental health. I think people at the end of the day have something to look forward to, something to entertain themselves and, you know, move away from kind of like this tragedy a little bit. And not like you're moving away forever, but it's a good mental health thing to have. It's a positive thing to have.
And that's what I've been like trying to say. Like I've been saying this for a while too. It's like sometimes people forget like it doesn't always have to be Black Lives Matter this, Black Lives Matter that. Like posting 24/7. Like you can take a step back for a little bit.
Take a break.
You know, take a break. Like, bro, you see this? Bro, you see what you're trying to do here? You see what you're trying to do here? This guy nothing but he just has jokes. But it's important for people to take a step back and not have to like, you know, like stress all this like all the time. Like, bro, like, we could chill out for a little bit. Let's, you know, take a break. Let's do something positive that's gonna lift our spirits a little bit more, and then we can get back to the business.
I think that's the divide. I think that's right there.
Right.
What you just hit on is the divide in the black community.
Bro.
Because there are black people that feel like, nah, my G, there ain't no time to calm down because ain't shit changed.
And that's fine. I'm not saying you can't do that. Like I'm not
one of those people, by the way.
I'm not saying like if you don't want to take a break from it, that's by all means don't take a break from it because at the end of the day, like the work needs to get done. But I just think that for people's mental and like just for their well-being, like it's good to take a break from this sometimes. It's good to have something that's gonna lift your spirits, and then you can get back to it. You can do
And I
both.
think taking breaks fortifies the fight too as well. The thing is, taking a break doesn't mean, we need to be on this and taking a break just means like I'm gonna recharge my batteries so I can be a better warrior about
Right.
this.
Yeah.
And if you recharge your batteries, sometimes when you move away from it, you come back to kind of like addressing it. Sometimes you have better ideas about how to.
My thing, right, with this subject in terms of, social justice and balancing, the NBA restarting and what that means. Yeah, the NBA restarting, as a fan, I love it. Like, I watched, we were talking about the Portland-Memphis game. Like, that's the kind of shit, like the Clippers-Lakers game, that's the type of shit, like, wow, I was missing that. Like, I didn't have that. My only thing about the NBA, not the NBA restarting, but the way they're handling social justice, and they've gone, I'll be the first to say, they've done a fantastic job in terms of setting up their players. Adam Silver is really, like, out of all commissioners across every league, has put his foot forward the best. My only thing that I'm worried about is, with everything that's going on, right, we wanted consistent, effective change. Now, what that change was, it varied amongst all black people, right? The number one thing that I'm worried about is that it becomes sort of like a hashtag or a trend, where it's like, now you have companies that before had no business saying like Black Lives Matter. So NBA's done a great job with how they've thought about it. But like I said, my fear is that it becomes something where we're talking about it, but nothing's really being done, right? And the players using their platform is great. The whole but then there's some things in it that's like a little gimmicky to me, like the shirt, the name on the back of the jersey, like that's not anything that I really need. That's me personally. Like I was fine if you just kept your name on your jersey. If you did, I have no quips with that. Like, but it's not anything where it's like, yeah, this is how we're using our platform. For me, I'm like, you putting equality on your shirt doesn't do shit for me. But what I like to see, and I think the next step is for not just the NBA but sports in general, is for them to play a hand in making those effective changes. Now, how that is, I don't know. But I think that is the next step. I think the NBA is using their platform better than, like I said, any other sports. So I'm not criticizing them. My greatest fear.
You should.
No, I'm not. But my greatest fear is just like, yeah, we're talking about it, but what's being done?
Right.
And I think that is something that needs to be focused on. And I think dangerously, if history is an indication of anything, change doesn't usually happen with people just talking.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, what's next? I think that is where we're off to. And I think, obviously there's a lot of money involved in making the decision for the NBA restarting, player salary, owners. So that's my opinion on that. In terms of if Kyrie was wrong or right, though, I think Kyrie was wrong about it. Obviously, they've used the platform the way that they have. And I think Kyrie himself would be okay with being wrong about it, but he was more so coming from a place of genuine concern. And I think that's something that has to be highlighted. Shout out to what he's doing, all the great work that he's doing. I don't have anything else to add. That was my take on it. I just like to see effective change out there because Black lives do matter, and I'd like to see more lives saved
I agree with you.
and not lost.
Yeah, I think some things that we have to really watch for is symbolic victories. I think Malcolm X talks about that, right? Where it's kind of like all these symbolisms, all these gestures. But what we actually need, like you're saying, is systemic change. Right?
Exactly.
We actually need to hit the ground running. Like the other day, I was asking a friend of mine that, after you post, you post all this stuff like on your IG. What do you do day by day? And I actually ended up posting this on my IG to ask the question, like, what do you do day by day to affect
Well,
change?
I knew it. I saw that on his IG. I was like, oh, he got an argument.
Yeah, I was like, what do you do? Like, it's all cool, it's all well and it's fun to do that. And also, I think another thing that's important to highlight here is I think for the first time, there's some people that are coming into this social justice kind of thing. There's
Mhm.
awareness of social justice and not,
Combined with social media.
combined with social media and not kind of like being properly educated about it. They don't know how to effectively go about it or
Mhm.
how to effectively handle it. So that's why I think the trend comes in, right? Where
Yeah.
it becomes trendy to just do this and unthinkingly just do it without,
Really understanding.
actually thinking about it.
Yeah,
Because
correct.
I actually had someone attack me because like when this whole George Floyd thing went down, they didn't see me active, posting like all these someone like when it even came to the black squares and stuff like some, and I was like, yo, dude, like when it was not popular and I was out here
Yeah,
posting about this,
yeah.
and y'all was saying like, yo, some shit,
Calm it down. Yeah.
calm it down, bro. I was still out here posting about it when it was unpopular,
Yeah.
but now that it's trendy, my nigga.
And that's my thing too. Like I feel like definitely it became trendy.
Yeah.
There were some points where it became trendy,
100%.
and I just remember looking at it, I'm like, nah. It's just like as somebody who constantly talks about these things and advocates for these
Yeah.
things, seeing like other people, I'm like, nah.
I remember you in college.
We don't believe you. You need more people. So it's like, but I do think at the end of the day, people using their platforms for that it's great. I just hope that we see this systemic change that we're really looking for, and I think that conversation has to be revisited amongst blacks because it's not a one size fits all. That's all I had. Hello, kid.
It's a nice way to end it.
That's all I have, man. Shout out to Houston Rockets, shout out to James Harden.
Black Lives Do
Really that
Matter. Breonna Taylor, justice for Breonna Taylor out there.
We're still worried about Megan.
What?
We still worried about Megan.
Oh, we still worried about Megan. Meg, I hope you are doing well, recovering well. Tory, we'd like to hear your side of the story. But besides that, man, love and respect for y'all. Season 5,
Better
episode
make
2.
sense, Tory.
This is a kind of a long one. Thank you for surviving through the technical difficulties with us. Yeah, we back, we here. Any special announcements, shout outs? Shout out to God, shout out to Mama, successful surgery. I'm doing okay. Yeah, anything?
I guess this is where we end, and then there were 4.
Shout out to the people.
Shout out to the folk, the listeners, and yeah, man, love and respect. Then there were 4, and as always, remember, stay tapped in. We out.
Yeah, done.